The walls are shaking, not slowly, not gently. They shake like something alive is trying to break in. Smoke hangs in the air, thick and bitter, stinging the eyes. Somewhere in the dark, a man screams, then goes quiet. Boots slam against stone outside the walls. Closer now, louder, faster. A defender presses his back against the cold rock, gripping his rifle, knowing deep down that this weapon is more comfort than solution. This is the last morning at the Alamo, and everyone inside already knows it. But the truth is, this story didn't begin with cannon fire. It began weeks earlier with a feeling. The kind of feeling you get when something is wrong, but you can't stop it anymore. Back then, Texas wasn't part of the United States. It belonged to Mexico. At first, Mexico welcomed settlers from the north. Land was cheap, rules were loose, life felt full of promise. But over time, things changed. New laws arrived, taxes grew heavier, freedom shrank. It felt like being invited into a home, only to be told later you could no longer speak freely or rearrange the furniture. That pressure kept building until it finally cracked. The Texas Revolution began, and suddenly people who had never planned on being soldiers were forced to choose sides. And standing in the middle of it all was an old mission in San Antonio called the Alamo. The Alamo was never meant to fight a war. It was built for faith, not defense. Its walls were thick but uneven. Its layout was awkward. Defending it was like trying to protect a house with too many doors and not enough locks. Still, it became a gathering point, a symbol, a place where people said, "We stop here." Inside the Alamo were about 200 defenders, not trained warriors, not professionals, just men with calloused hands and tired eyes. Men who had lives before this, families, crops, jobs. They joked to hide fear. They argued over small things. They wrote letters they weren't sure would ever be read. One of them was Davy Crockett. He was famous, yes, but fame didn't protect him here. He laughed loudly, told stories, and tried to keep spirits up. He could have left. No one would have blamed him. But something pulled him to stay. Maybe pride, maybe belief, maybe a sense that some lines shouldn't be crossed quietly. Another was James Bowie, once strong, once fearless, now sick, trapped in bed as the world closed in. Imagine hearing the sounds of preparation, knowing a fight is coming, and being unable to stand. His body failed him, but his decision did not. He stayed. Leading them was William B. Travis, young, serious, carrying the kind of responsibility that steals sleep. Travis looked at the numbers. He counted the men. He measured the walls. He knew what the outcome would be if help didn't arrive, and so he wrote a letter. Not fancy, not dramatic, honest. He asked for reinforcements and ended with words that said everything without saying too much. Victory or death. Those words weren't brave talk. They were acceptance. Then the Mexican army arrived. Thousands of soldiers marched into San Antonio under the command of Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna. Santa Anna believed order came from strength and fear. He believed rebellion should be crushed fast and hard so no one else would dare try again. The Alamo wasn't just a target. It was a message waiting to be sent. For 13 days, the Alamo was surrounded. Cannons fired day and night. Imagine thunder that never stops, rattling your bones, stealing your sleep. Food grew scarce. Water was precious. Each sunrise felt like borrowed time. Each night felt longer than the last. No reinforcements came. Every man inside understood what that meant. This was no longer about holding ground. It was about making a choice. Stay and face the storm, or slip away and live with what that meant forever. They stayed. Before dawn on March 6th, the attack began. The silence broke all at once. Soldiers surged forward like waves crashing into rock. Gunfire flashed in the dark, brief and blinding. Smoke filled lungs. Shouts echoed off stone. The fighting was close and frantic. No neat lines, no clear plans, just chaos, fear, and instinct. It didn't last long. In less than 2 hours, it was over. Every defender inside the Alamo was dead. From the outside, it looked simple. A strong army defeated a weak one. Santa Anna won. The Alamo fell. End of story. But history doesn't always follow logic. Instead of spreading fear, the fall of the Alamo spread anger, grief, resolve. People across Texas heard what happened and felt something harden inside them. They thought about those men who stayed when escape was possible, who stood knowing the end was certain. The Alamo didn't scare people into submission. It pulled them forward. Men who had hesitated now volunteered. Those who doubted found clarity. The loss became fuel. The Alamo wasn't the end of the revolution, it was the spark. Weeks later, the Texian army, led by Sam Houston, faced Santa Anna again at a place called San Jacinto. This time the Texans attacked with speed and fury. As they charged, they shouted three words that carried pain, memory, and purpose all at once. Remember the Alamo. The battle lasted only 18 minutes. Santa Anna was captured. Texas won its independence. And suddenly the Alamo wasn't remembered as a defeat. It was remembered as the moment everything changed. The Alamo is not just a story about walls and weapons. It's about people, about choices made when the outcome is already written, about deciding that some things matter more than survival. Most of us will never face a battlefield, but we all face moments where walking away is easier. Moments where standing firm costs something. The men at the Alamo made their choice. The walls fell, the mission burned, the defenders died. But what they left behind was louder than cannon fire, and that echo is still heard today.